Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. We've got ourselves yet another big series from the Esports World Cup. It's Serral doing well in the upper bracket of Group Stage A, and his opponent in the bottom right side, also in Group Stage A, it's Clem. That's right. If you guys didn't follow the World Championship too closely, these two played early on in the tournament, and this is that match. It's a best of 5. Winner of this will go through to, I believe, a qualification match to the top 4 after this. I don't think this qualifies you straight for it. But either way, let's talk about the build orders. Serral is going to go for 15 hatchery. We should see another extractor trick here momentarily. And he's going to cancel that. Yeah, very nice. Very nice build order. Overlord should go down immediately on 100 minerals right now. And yep, Overlord pops up. Very standard 15-15 build order for Serral. This gives him some really nice potential roach aggression. If he chooses to do this in that format of 2 base roach, shove across, try to do damage. However, this map is quite a long rush distance. It's quite big. We might see the more modern Serral build that he showcased in Dallas. And he did so well against Maru because Maru just did nothing to pressure or punish him at all. Remember, multiple games. What did Serral do versus Maru in Dallas? He basically went no link speed for a while because your gas is naturally late with this build. But he didn't go roaches either. And then he just added ling speed, defended with like 5 or 6 queens, droned up 3 bases insanely early, and then just had really fast upgrades and played a really solid Lingbane macro game off of a super greedy start. And I think you got to keep in mind that Serral struggled to keep up with Clem mechanically for the last year, well, two years, maybe 2.5. It's been a long time. I've been talking about it for a long time. That in a straight-up game, Clem is a menace, and he's very hard to beat for anyone, but especially like a guy like Rainer might be able to keep pace with him and dance back and forth and keep him on his toes. Serral hasn't really shown an ability to do that off the back foot. And that's never really been Serral's style. This is not Serral's bad, Clem's too good for him. It's just the fact of the matter is that Serral takes momentum away from Clem. He has to do clever things to wreck him, and what he's done this time is a gasless build. He's not even going for that delayed link speed. It's an extremely delayed tech up. I would imagine this is into roaches. Normally, if you're going to delay it that long, you do want to go roach play, and we should be seeing 2 queens pop out as soon as these 2 queens, 2 more queens queued up as these 2 queens pop out. So yeah, already 2 queens in the production tab. Immediate injects, nice extractor trick to save the drone. It's a solid opening here for Serral, and he's going to try and escort a worker to his 3rd, which you might think isn't that important. The reason this is important is because he's not taking gas. He'll actually be able to squeeze the 3rd base. And remember, there's always some compromise with a 15 hatchery, 15 pool. In this case, the compromise is no gas. He still gets a normal timed 3rd, gets 4 queens, you know, pretty damn solid play. But that is the corner that he's cutting, is no link speed, no roach horn, no chance for aggression. Now, Clem doesn't know that. He has not scouted into the main. If he could see that, that'd be a really nice piece of info. He's going 3rd command center behind it, 2 Hellions on the way. And do we see a starport for Clem, or do we see a 2nd barracks is the question. Reaper still poking around, hasn't got any clear inkling. I think he was looking for a roach horn on the natural wall, but it's only going to go down now at about 320, which is a pretty damn good timing. If you've skipped ling speed, normally you want that roach horn no later than 330. And you guys know I do this build order a lot, except I'd have the gas a bit earlier. I like to go Evo Chamber there and just block with a single queen. It can technically get bounced out of position by the Reaper, but if the Reaper sacrifices itself, it should be okay. You just got to be really worried because that Reaper's distracting. These Hellions could run in. Queens, gonna get some damage. Okay, 2 Zerglings are there. Good focus fire so far. Oh, Serral clumping his drones a lot here. He's going for the surround. He gets it. He does get 1 Hellion, but not both. Hellion's coming back for more, gets 3 workers. Okay, 3 workers is not the end of the world. It is decent damage for Clem and great spore tricks for Serral. Should be able to pull this guy away as well. 2 spore tricks. Reaper's going to go down. But wait, there's 2 more Hellions behind. There's 2 more Hellions behind. Those Hellions could come in as well. The Reaper is still distracting. This is really hard to get on top of without link speed. Roaches aren't ready just yet. The Reaper's still having a dance, and there's nothing at the front. Oh, this is where things get problematic. The Roaches are just seconds away. This is why I was talking about that Evo Chamber with the Queen, because once they get in, they can just be so frustrating to deal with. Got to get rid of that red hit point. Hellion, and beautiful play by Serral. Guys, I mean, he's losing mining time. It still doesn't feel good to be losing mining time. You really want to keep your 2 bases just untouched, but it could be so much worse. And look at that, more extractor tricks and spore tricks. Still loses him a fair amount of resources as well as mining time while those are going up, but he's been quite on point with getting back into position and avoiding catastrophic damage. 2nd and 3rd barracks is here as well. Banshees and Hellions coming in. Oh, Hellions coming forward. Overlord's coming forward from that side as well. Okay, so you're going to see a standard bio build. You know there's cloaked banshees. There should be a spore in each base. Indeed, there is. He's already got that one finished in his third from earlier. Only 3 roaches and 4 queens out right now. Only 4 queens. Wow, Serral actually felt like he's quite behind after the early damage, and he's really skimped on his queen production. Oh, this is a big mistake for Serral. He's got nothing in the main. He's got nothing in the main, guys. He needs Evo chambers. He doesn't get them down. Oh, Serral taking some massive lineups. Anyone call for some barbecue? Hellions having an absolute party right now all over Serral's base, all over his drones and at his expense, and that is 12 more drones going down. Banshee's going to come in behind it. Queens are out of position. Remember, there's only 4 queens on this map. 5th one is about to pop out, but the damage is stacking up, and this is just not clean enough. I've played this build against Clem multiple times, this opening that Serral's doing. Admittedly, a build that's slightly less greedy because I do get my gas down a bit earlier, but it doesn't really change anything. For all intents and purposes, you're defending with just queens, and I got to tell you, I lost quite a bunch of games just to the Hellions running in. I've never in the last 2 years seen Serral take this much damage, though. And not even close, not even half this much damage. He's played this sort of matchup so many times. We've never seen this happen. And you've got to realize, I'm not making excuses for Serral, guys. It's not that he's playing super sloppy. Is he making 1 or 2 more mistakes than normally? Yes, but also one has to say, look at the just elegance of the way Clem's moving in and out. He's coming in with his banshees. He's microing from different angles. He's diving with Hellions from all different sides. And, you know, it looked like it was a pretty good defense for Serral at first, but then those last 4 Hellions really added too much damage, and that's where things got out of control. And I think the Reaper, you know, that Reaper really distracted in the main for way too long, and that's something Serral overreacted to. It's kind of like he defended the first wave okay, second wave okay. They were always like almost a bit too chaotic, but just ended up being good trades for him. And then those last Hellions come in, because the Reaper's distracting, suddenly you're at 22 dead drones, and Serral is playing for miles behind. He's going to try and transition into Lingbane off of the Roach Ravager start, but the Marines are already here, and he's down in supply. This is a disaster for Serral. Sorry guys, just sneezing a little bit this morning, not sure why. Whew. Just had to mute my microphone there. That trade was okay. You can see he only got 1 roach, nothing crazy there, but didn't lose many Marines. I think he lost 1 Marine for 1 roach. It's a good trade for Clem. 2-to-1 efficiency, technically. 4th command center is there. Clem's going to keep dropping. Has he got a second factory yet? No, he has not. He's repairing his Banshee. So useful to stop counterattacks, keeping those alive. He wanted to get that creep tumor, but Serral was quick to reposition. Queen's in the main base, going to make it a little awkward. If he wants to unload there, it'll be costly. Getting that creep out to the edge of your main, really important. You can see Serral's focusing on that. 5th base gets preemptively cancelled. Good call by Serral. He's going to try and pull over in that direction. And Clem, if he sees the drone, he might try to unload on it, but it's, of course, the top right where he's coming in yet again. And being able to work these angles, so annoying for Serral, because he's got to keep extra queens in the main, units up here, units in the bottom left. Meanwhile, Clem's intentions of pushing with this, I didn't think were very high, and yet he is going 8 racks. He's not slowing the game down for the second factory. Interesting. So I think Clem senses that he's got momentum right now. Yeah, and Clem really is a beast when he's got a bit of an advantage. You know, he knows he wants to lean into that. Oh, Banshees and Marines on this right side. Good moves. I think he's like, okay, I'll go drop your main. I'll move my Banshees around at the same time. Bio-stimming on the front. The Roaches don't have the DPS to deal with this. Hatchery has to get cancelled and given up. Those Lings on the right side would be massive, though. Oh, really good Ling angle. That's a massive Ling angle on the right side. Deals with that really nicely. Baneling speed isn't quite here. Ling's barely defending the main as well. Serral looking pretty clean with that defense. I thought he was about to crumble. But, oh, hold that thought. You can't call it too early. A defense is not a defense until the Terran actually walks out of your base. And I mean, he walked out and immediately turned around and came straight back in. So even then, I guess it's not really over, is it? Bile does land on the Banshee, but Marines are in the left side. Serral doesn't have the numbers. He took too much damage earlier. If he's taking so much damage, he's stuck on 4 base. Clem's got a 4th base up now as well. Queen and Spore Crawler in the main base. Queen and Spore are going to do okay, but you can see the Banshee focus fight. He's so good at just turning and focusing the Queen down, knowing that's your only mobile anti-air. Now losing more drones at the main base. Serral is on the edge of GGing right now, guys. He's got 3 Queens, a few Roaches and Ravagers, a few Lings and Banes, and I don't want you to be surprised, but I'm pretty sure like he just feels like you got to realize with roaches, you're meant to be up in supply significantly. He's not. He's down in upgrades. He's down in supply. His 4 Vipers are potentially the saving grace, but he doesn't have a mass of Banelings. He's down 30 supply against a Terran player, which is an absolute disaster. Crazy move for Clem on that left side, but of course the hot pickup saves the day, as it so often does. And he's got Marines over there on the right, as well as the tanks. So hard for Serral to hang on. If there was Lings hitting the third base, if there was some chaos, maybe. Without chaos, it's going to be hard. Full medevac goes down. That's a good catch me for Serral. Serral is very good at hanging on in these scenarios. Maybe, just maybe, can bring back one of those old school comebacks, but the blinding clouds, are they going to be enough? Parasitic bomb does not go down. The Viper's out of energy. Biles only take out one of the tanks there. There's still so much Marine Marauder, and fighting off creep ain't going to be it. The Ravagers each taking up 3 supply. Whilst Corrosive Bile is good, Clem will not get hit by that. He's just too good. The Ravagers getting 1 or 2 Biles in range of the tanks, but 1 or 2 Biles is not going to cut the mustard. If you've ever tried to cut mustard before, guys, you'd think it's quite easy. But when you're up against Clem, it suddenly becomes very, very hard. There is that sour taste of vinegar in your mouth, and one has to realize that Clem just has too much stuff. He's happy to take these trades all day. He's got a 4th base up, 5th and 6th command center coming in. Vikings, Marines, Marauders, +2 vehicle weapons, 3/3. Concussive shells got remembered. And this is the difference between Clem now and Clem a year ago. This is the difference between 2023 and 2024 Clem. 2024 Clem was capable of playing like this, but he'd get excited on the big stage, under pressure. He'd forget concussive. He wouldn't have +2 vehicle weapons. He'd be mismacroing, like, just lots of little mistakes on his macro while he was attacking. And now, even against the best Zerg in the world, if Clem gets an advantage, he is not going to be letting it go. And we can see how brutal of a game that can lead to. Serral just doesn't have the numbers in any of these engagements. And it really is a style that relies on you having numbers. Serral needs a good start with this build. Playing a roach style against Bio, you cannot be outnumbered. All right, guys, Serral now in the bottom, top right, I should say, of Ghost River. Clem in the top left. And this is tough, because that was the better map for Serral. And that's why that opening is such a big problem, because you're in a best of 5, you lose your map. Now you've got to make it work on Clem's map. How are we going to do it? He's going to go 16 hatchery. And that means an early Ling speed most likely. I mean, he could still go 16 hatchery into something else, but normally you go 16 hatchery if you want a quick Ling speed. Otherwise, I think he does prefer 15-15. But I mean, Serral has an ability on maps like this, short maps where Terran pushes through the middle are very scary. He has a habit of winning these maps, right? So most players losing your map pick is very, very bad. It's often game-ending against a guy like Clem. But for Serral, he used to win every single time he'd play Submarine, right? Every single time on Cyber Forest, Beckett Industries. These were the maps where Serral's win rate was just unparalleled. And it feels like because he's a master of taking control and planning, he will come out with an even better plan than normal. So for Clem to counteract that, I think Clem needs to just be ready to not overcommit to his own aggression, because you know Serral's whole plan will probably revolve around stomping your first push super hard, using that to kind of catapult his creep and map control to 3/4 of the way across the map, and only then will he start kind of potentially being greedy behind it. So for Clem, it's a mixture of scouting, trying to figure out what Serral's doing, and I'd say keeping your tanks safe. Potentially not even pushing with tank. I mean, you could maybe just play this as a turtle map as Clem. It's a really bad long-term map for Zerg, because you only get 4, 5, 6 bases each, and good luck ever mining out these bottom left bases, right? Even if the Terran's turtling, how are you going to mine this out? Now, don't get me wrong, Serral famously did that against Oliveira and Dallas, but that was a freak occurrence where the game went absolutely flawlessly. I don't think that's something you can rely on. SCV is going to block the third. There is Ling speed on the way. He's fully pulled off the gas now. Clem is a big fan of 2 Rax Reaper. Another reason why you would often want to get Ling speed. Maru is going to come back soon. He will see Clem's recipe to beat Serral and implement it. Oh, really? You think so? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I mean, Clem has obviously for many years been able to beat Serral, and he does it with really standard play. If there's a weakness for Clem, it's that he actually doesn't vary it up. I was just having a shower thought this morning. I was like, if Clem wants to build on his legacy, he needs to start doing more 8-Raxes and proxy barracks, and needs to actually go really hard on the timing attacks. And he hasn't actually done that. I feel like Clem wins with raw speed, skill, and mechanics. And that's something which is only going to work if you're just better than everybody. And it's weak to things like map pool changes as well. Like if the map pool shifts, And Clem is still just playing very standard all the time, and that's an issue. Like, Clem plays very aggressive, but he doesn't lean into it. Maru commits to timing attacks. Maru's a strategy game player. Clem is a mechanical player. And it's a vast oversimplification, but I truly believe that sums up the differences between their two playstyles. Now, Ling's getting ready for a run by. They sneak past the Hellions. Very nicely done. Okay, Reaper's going to bounce in. Hellions on the front. Oh my gosh, his Lings aren't there. But it's okay, because he's going to counterattack. The Hellions pull back. This is great for Serral. Great move for Serral. Okay, so he's going to play the counterattack game, guys. The backstab game. The backstab game, it's been something that Clem's been weak to for many years, but Hellions are going to dive. Oh, you can't be letting him get all this damage, though. Oh, okay, this might actually work out in Clem's favor. The buildings did not really bide much time there, but actually it's fine. Only 3 drones go down. 3 drones for 6 SCVs is excellent for Serral. Doesn't necessarily put him miles ahead. He's still got to resaturate. He's got to get workers to his third. He's got to kind of respread creep, do all this sort of stuff. Hellions are going to see these Lings coming out. And Serral just goes for the engage and then does pack off. Hellion Banshee's on the way. Third command center is morphed into an orbiter. This is 3 CC. Serral needs either more damage or to lock down the boat completely tight. Those Hellions poking in is crazy aggressive. If he dove past, that would have been a disaster. They would have been surrounded, maybe not surrounded, but blocked by the Zerglings and Queens and taken a lot of damage. So I think this is a decent setup for Serral, though. He's done some damage, massively slowing down like the barracks and engineering bay transition. He's still got to shut down the Hellion Banshee, though. And this is where Serral at his best excels. Oh, he's going double Evo. Bad call. Bad call. Serral has no info. Serral doesn't know that he's up against Banshees. He sees it now. Serral hasn't glanced here yet, though. His screen did not look over. He missed the Banshee, guys. He was distracted by the Hellions. The Hellions have been getting too much damage. They've got him on the ropes. He's not building spores. He's not building spores. He's misread it. He's going to see it again. Serral is reacting very slowly. Finally, he builds the spore crawler. He needs one in each base, though. He's only building one. He doesn't have a lair. He's only got one spore crawler building. Serral. Okay, second and third spore crawler do go down. The Banshee cloak is not ready, thankfully, for Serral. Oh, not noticing the Banshee move out. You can tell he's a little bit anxious about those Hellions and how much damage they did in game 1. As it is, it stands very good trading for Serral, but Clem does not miss a beat on his macro. Remember, some players, when they're harassing like this, they are mis-macroing. They're not building SCVs. Clem is not that player. Clem's back to 3 workers the moment the command center lands. 3 workers building at a time. His 4th and 5th barracks are building. Does need to start his double upgrades. Those are quite late. As the Banshee comes in the north. Doesn't quite get a drone. Really good pullbacks. Lair still not finished, so the Banshee should know that it has freedom as long as it stays out of Spore Crawler range. No Overseers will be coming over to shut it down. Another Banshee comes in as well. Good drone pulls by Serral. Clem's going to start getting some damage done here and there, though. Okay. Nothing big yet. Hellion goes down. This base is going to have to get cancelled. Cancel, Serral. Cancel earlier rather than later. He does rebuild instantly, but if Clem clicks on it, he might be able to take that down. Gets a queen in the natural. Nice move. Clem being a bit of a menace, and Serral went really fast double Evo, but never actually started the melee upgrade. Banshee barely slips away. Just like in game 1, the Banshees are both alive. Getting those home to defend future run-bys could be massive. Baneling Nest is done. 4th base about a quarter complete. Serral will need a macro hatchery sooner rather than later. And he's already at 77 workers, my lord. Oh, Serral's overdroned. I mean, that can work out if he gets those drones on that 4th base and just does nothing but army. You could see he cancelled a drone, though, because he realized, wait a second, you know, he had 30 workers on his natural. He's still at 26 out of 16, which is too many. Needs to spread those out onto the 3rd and the 4th base. Serral needs to get control of this match. And, of course, Clem's medevacs are here. Stim, medevacs, 1-1 coming in, shields as well. He's only got 1 medevac to start, so it's a bit of a janky push, right? It's a few Hellions, 1 tank, Marines. I like that the tank's far back. Remember, Clem does not want to give Serral a chance to surround and kill this army. I do think Serral could be more active with Ling run-bys, but there's a Banshee at home ready to defend that. Queen's coming forward in the south side. 2nd factory coming in for Clem. I would expect a reactor. I think he's going to go reactor on that 4th command center as well. Clem's not committing too hard. Marines trading with Queens. Tank gets a good juicy shot off on those Zerglings. Already up to 3 kills. Queen's off creep. That's a mistake. Serral goes just a little bit too far forward. Does lose 1 queen and a bunch of transfuse energy. Banshee denying the mining down here. 74 drones only now for Serral. Losing a couple. Not to mention every time he builds a building, that's going to cost him. And Serral never found the room to squeeze in a macro hatchery. Oh, wait. Yes, he did. Sorry. It's in front of his natural. Never mind. Banshee causing so much distraction. Where is the Overseer, guys? Serral is refusing to make an overseer, and it's really costing him. It's really, really costing him. I mean, you just have to make an overseer. It's in spore range, though. Slight mistake for Clem, but he pulls it back. Marine Hellion, siege tank in a lovely position. Is this the only tank, guys? He's got 2 tanks, but they're at home. Clem's playing ultra safe. Ultra safe with 2 tanks on the high ground. Massling Bane counterattack, but he's going in piecemeal. It's going to kind of show his hand a bit too early. That'll give Clem plenty of time to get ready. Oh, getting the 4th command center is big, though. If he can click the 4th command center, that would have been huge. Ah, stopping a 4th command center at 90% complete like that is sometimes game ending because it takes so long to build those. And Clem's actually not rebuilding that right now. Bit of a mistake for him. He's coming up to 8 barracks, drilling claws on the way. We will be seeing Widowmine production in full swing in the near future. Banelings and Zerglings hanging out. Only up 3 workers right now is Serral. Units lost time 300 in favor of Clem, but it's Clem's macro that has been all-consuming, and of course that short push distance. This next fight will decide this game, because Serral does not have an economic advantage. He needs to crush this push. He's going to have +2 carapace. He needs 20 seconds until that kicks in. These queens need to pull back. He's going to lose all of his queens if he's not careful. I do like those banelings rolling forward. He's going for it. +2 carapace is not quite ready. Serral pulls the trigger a little bit early here. Is it going to be worth it? Banelings connect with all the marines on the right side, but this big ball of marines on the left are trading very well. At the end of the day, 1,500 resources behind for Serral, but he doesn't fully dislodge the position. +2 carapace kicks in after a lot of the fight, and that's a big issue because the longer this maintains this position, the worse this gets for Serral. Remember, Serral doesn't have the economic advantage. He needed to slap that push down and reassert map control. Clem has a 4th base established. He's pumping out units like mad. Serral needs to shut this down. Massive Widow Mine in the south, landing in the center of the Ling Bane. That tank in the rear on 7 kills right now. That's right. That's one of his reserve tanks that he's pulled forward. Clem maintains position, and that is very, very bad for Serral. But wait, Serral finds a counterattack. Beautiful play. Forces that base to finish lifting, or to cancel and lift off, so it doesn't finish the planetary just yet, but so many units nearby. And of course, Clem now setting up a ledge push. I'd like to see Serral just abduct that siege tank if he can. Marines here, going to try and bait him into this tank shots. Abduct will go down. Can the Marines get the Viper? No, they cannot. He even went for the Blinding Cloud there as well on top of that. Serral, though, with only 1 Viper, 86 Zerglings, 12 Banelings, +3 Carapace started up, +2 Melee is almost done. So he's got an upgrade lead, does Serral, but when 2-2 finishes, that's going to be back to even. Oh, Banelings getting a nice connection. 7 Marines in the south side going down. Widow Mines are here. Zerglings trying to go in. The Widow Mine's not quite able to fire. That one finally does. But the Planetary's up. That alone will defend that base. Mauling Bane ready. Maybe he can counterattack the natural. Clem's been pretty good at handling it so far. Liberators are coming in to add a bit of an APM tax and attention strain on Serral. Only gets a single drone, though. Great defense so far. Random Cyclone. That was a misclick, guys. He did not mean to build a Cyclone, but since it's here, he might as well fight with it. Marine Mortar Mine trying to engage. Decent Widow Mine hit, but nothing to write home about. And that's a good fight for Serral. But Widow Mine's behind it. Good spready again. But he's been out positioned in the bottom right side of the map. Clem dives in. He's on top of that base. And remember that Clem, at no point has he really been in mortal jeopardy. And look, even unburrows the Widow Mine to stop it from firing. Serral's like, gosh, man, can you just let your Widow Mines explode, please, so I can get some bloody damage? It's making it hard for him, though. Clem's going to counterattack in the south side. He's watching it, of course. He's watching with the instant pickup. 5 SCVs, all that goes down. I can't believe it was only 5. Are you kidding me? Only 5 workers for all that. The units lost tab now 2,600 in favor of Clem. Canceling the 5th base in the bottom is such a big move, and he's going to get it again. Serral was not expecting the instant redrop. He's busy catching up, and Clem gets another cancel. Clem is just all over him. And this comes back to the fact that Serral never had room to breathe. He never got an economic advantage. He was always kind of on the ropes economically, and when that first fight was not the crushing engagement that he needed it to be, things got very bad. I think Serral maybe needed to be even more counterattack focused than he was this game, and even more, not engage the front on, delay and drag out those fights, and kind of bait Clem into overcommitting himself. Ling Bane counterattack will do big damage. Can he ever handle this ball of Marine Marauder, though? The macro hatchery goes down. Marines are in the base. The Ling Bane's going to try and take care of the planetary. My lord, the Widow Mine does so much. Even if he gets the 4th base, is it going to be enough? The army is just untouchable on the front. Let's rewind that as, of course, Serral does GG. And let's just watch the final efforts to get through. He just doesn't have any Ling Bane. How can he get through this army? The Marauders, the Marines, pre-spread, the Liberator, the banshee. He just doesn't have an answer to it. He does not have the numbers. Clem, so rich. and able to overwhelm once again. Hellions did get in the base a little bit. The Banshees came in from multiple angles, and I think Serral, by rushing the double Evo, he was looking to gain an advantage, but it ended up putting him in so much jeopardy against those Banshees. If he went for a faster lair, a faster Overseer, he might have got the 4th up quicker. He definitely wouldn't have lost so much drones and mining time, and it could have been a better opening. But Clem capitalizes on Serral's greedy double Evo chamber opening and now finds himself up 2-0. All right, guys, going to the next game. Clem in the bottom left, Serral in the top left, and Serral is going 15-15. Clem, no doubt, going to be going for a 1-Rex expand. I don't think you really go 2-Rex Reaper on this map. Bit of a dangerous ramp, but we were just discussing, you know, Maru more of a strategy gamer than Clem, at least more obvious the strategies, because Clem is just so good at the base mechanics that it makes sense for Clem to have more small adjustments in his play. Just little adjustments, because he's such a good, solid defensive or a well-rounded player. I mean, it's weird calling Clem a defensive player, but what I mean by that is he doesn't lean into his timing attacks. The last game he pushed with 1 tank, kept 2 tanks at home, built a 4th command center, was building towards a 5th command center and onwards. You know, even though he plays aggressive, because that's the nature of Terran, and definitely he attacks very well, he doesn't commit super hard to the aggression in terms of, like, Maru's like cutting SCVs and hitting these brutal 2 or 3 siege tank marine pushes and just killing Zerg players at the 7-minute mark a lot. Clem almost never does moves like that. Clem almost never commits to an 8-Rax all-in. He doesn't do it, and yet he's still winning so much. And there's an argument that if he adds those in, he'd be a much scarier player to play against. I'm a proponent of this. I do believe that. If Clem can add that variety, he will be as scary as Serral became in the last few years. Because remember, Serral was unbeatable in a macro game in 2018. Lost a little bit more in 2019 as other players kind of caught up and got good. But he over the following years, especially 2022, 2023, Serral added so many different strategies, so many different all-ins, Nidus worms, tunneling claw, roach play. I mean, remember, that was last year. How many times did he screw with Clem with tunneling claw roaches? It was crazy how much he toyed with Clem with that. And Clem started having to build blind missile turrets against roach openings. Like that's the level Serral was getting in Clem's head, and he was doing it to everybody over the last 2 years. And that's the only thing that I'd say is, in quotation marks, missing from Clem right now, is Clem is rather straight up and standard in his play. And if he could find a way to play those kind of wild out there strategies and really get his opponents worried about just the range of craziness that he could throw their way, I do think Clem would be like, you know, he can start to build himself an otherworldly reputation, much like Serral has in the last year or two. Keep in mind, you know, there's Serral really has cemented himself as the greatest of all time in the last year or two. And it's, oh, Clem darts back in, gets a drone. There's a problem with, even with a 15-15 on this map, a Reaper gets over there pretty fast. And this is why a lot of people go pool first. Now, Clem did SCV scout, which is why you don't really want to go pool first. 6 Zergling pressure, like we know Dark's build order, right? 16 pool, 6 Lings across the map, takes the 3rd hatchery, gasless, crosses his fingers the Terran doesn't get Hellions inside, because if they do, he's dead. Ah, Serral brings another drone over. Very cute move. Oh, he's going to try and run. No, that's going to die, dude. Oh, he should have just kept gas tricking there. Dude, 2 drones already? That's a massive... And not to mention, not only the 2 drones, remember, guys, look at all those extra minerals. 42 extra minerals of extractors, spore tricks. That's a lot of lost mining time and minerals as well. Clem's already in a massive position. He's playing 3CC. Clem's just doing his standard stuff, but it's on a map that is Terran favored, especially with the early Reaper. One could argue it's Zerg favored if you look at Dark's statistics versus Maru on this map, because Dark never loses this map, like, ever. Maybe he's lost once or twice versus Clem, but he's beat Maru every single time he's played on this map as Dark. But the early game, it gives an advantage, and yeah, I mean, he's using this so well. And look at this, Serral's getting screwed with, guys. His queens were so afraid of the Hellions. This is the Reaper from the earlier game all over again, man. This is the Reaper from Golden Aura. I don't even know what his nickname is. Duke Nukem, Mr. I'm gonna murder every one of you dirty bugs. I feel like we've got the drill sergeant from Starship Troopers here, man, you know? It's, oh my gosh! Clem, this is not fair. That's an unreasonable amount of lost mining time for one Reaper. That is unreasonable. And this is why, like I've said, guys, I always build the Evo chamber and put the queen in the wall. Serral opted for the 3 queen block, which is also solid because you cannot let the Hellions in. I think he did a much better job this time of not pulling away. Now, Serral does have an Overlord in the back. He did see the Cloak Banshee on the way, and he should be able to get the Overlord out if he clicks it to safety, but he's too busy. He's not watching right now, so that Overlord is going to die. Roaches come out. One Hellion falls. Creeps getting damaged. The drone's being held back. They're going to go to mine now. But look at this. Clem even splitting his Hellions up, trying to find exposed creep tumors, not making it easy for Serral at all. Now, as the dust settles, Serral is still up 12 workers. But he needs to maintain that. He needs to maintain a big worker advantage. When you're playing Roaches against Terran, you often want to be at about 66 versus 45. He's at 52 versus 43. Doesn't have a lot of time to get to 66 for that benchmark I'm talking about, and that is a real problem. He's building a few more Roaches because he's paranoid about the Hellion pressure. But if you don't find an advantage with the Roaches, you will fizzle out if you're similar supply in the mid to late game. Now, don't get me wrong. Serral's still up. A few workers, but only a few. His double Evo is very early. That's one thing that's going really well for him, is his 1-1 will finish at a really good moment. Good Evo chamber. Great Evo chamber. Banshee coming in there as well. I think Clem has trouble with Zerg if the Zerg makes Mutalisks. So historically, making Mutalisks against Clem is basically throwing the game. This is something a lot of people don't realize, because recently Raynor surprised Clem with some beautiful Mutalisk plays. And it kind of looked that way, but I almost feel like what we witnessed there was a one and done. It caught Clem off guard after 6 months of not playing against Mutalisks. And it was Raynor the fastest Zerg in the world. But remember, Mutas were popular years ago, and he used to just kill people. Your first Mutas would pop out, and he'd already be in your face with Marine Tank, and you'd be forced to use the Mutas to defend. And if you're like, no, okay, I'll go across and hit his base, just the Marines popping out of his barracks was so well controlled. He'd somehow managed to just grab 8 stim Marines, completely deflect your first Mutalist. Like, there was this aura of... I remember back on Romanticide, people were saying, 2021... if you make Mutas versus Clem, it's a free loss. Because I was like, guys, let's make more Mutas. Like, Clem's so good at attacking, we can't accept this defensive position. And speaking to the top Zergs at the time, they were like, we've tried making Mutalisks against Clem. They're like, it doesn't, like, it's really hard to make work. It's so dangerous. And I was like, okay, fair enough. But I had the exact same thought as you guys in the chat who were saying that, where I'm like, man, surely, at least it'll put him on the defense, right? It will create a different flow of game. Now, Nidus Worm's on the way as well as Link Speed. Serral is going for broke, guys. This has worked so many times on this map in the last 6 months. The problem is, Clem's died to this to Rogue in Dallas. Clem's literally dropped maps to this to so many players. Solar, Rogue, Dark have used this so much. And there's always a thing where the Korean players especially will utilize a strong strategy so much that every player who's been playing against it, and remember, Clem practiced on the Korean ladder leading to this. He's played 50 times against this. He should know about this the moment it pops up. It still might get up in his main because it's so far away. Did he just lose 2 Ravagers? No, just a couple Queens. Couple Queens go down to the first drop. Hellion in the back door. Comes in, trying to get some damage. That's just a changeling up there. Does only get 1 drone on that side. Nidus Worm in the back corner. Nidus Worm in the back corner. Clem doesn't notice it. Clem doesn't notice it. Here we go. Serral's got his chance. Serral's got a chance to get back in this game. Nidus Worm in the back door. I can't believe Clem got caught off guard by this. He should have expected this. This is really sloppy for Clem to not be thinking about the move that everyone's been doing to him in every tournament for the last 3 weeks. But does it even matter? The Marines are on top of the rally. Marine firepower is insane. Roaches are denying mining in the main. The Roach Ravager at the front trying to siege. These tanks on the high ground creating a sort of defensive anchor of safety. These Marines getting so much damage on the other side. Clem trying to rally some forces into that right side of his base. Clem loses his 3rd command center. Oh no! Clem, wait, can he double hatch snipe? Clem's going to double hatchery snipe. He's going to put Serral back to 2 base. 2 base first 2 base right now. 2 base first 2 base is totally acceptable for the Terran player. The supply is still dangerously close to these Marines. If they can get all these drones, this is a disaster. Serral needs to get these drones out of here. They're trying to run. The Roaches are over here along with some Queens. The Banshee finally is going to go down to those Queens. And the Marines pick up and do get out of there. Meanwhile, still Roach Ravager in the main base, losing his 3rd command center. Bit of a huge mistake there for Clem. He should not have lost it. He should have just lifted his base. He's moving his tanks and Marines into his main. He cannot fight away from the siege tanks. You've got to be so cautious. He's pulling his barracks back. Oh, the Ravager's morphing so close. I think Clem might just go for it. There's no damage here. There's no damage here. The Nidus goes down. Oh no! Serral with a mass Ravager morph in the face of Clem, and Clem just capitalizes, dives on top, and that is a disaster for Serral. The Biles being mostly dodged. Yes, the Marines go down, but Clem has an anchor of tanks. He's got Marines in the back door right now. The Queens are actually going to take care of that. Thank the Lord for Serral there. The Biles going down, though. There's no escape for those Ravagers. And my Lord, Clem doesn't even see it coming, and is he just getting away with it? Even supply, even workers. I mean, he's only on 2 command centers, but there's only 2 hatcheries mining, right? There's only 2 hatchery minings for Zerg, so the income's fine. especially if he rebuilds his command center right now. Clem is completely fine in this game, and this is the sort of thing that I talk about, where sometimes Clem doesn't even see his opponent's attack coming, doesn't lift his third command center, but he's so good at everything else that it doesn't matter. Clem at the moment is impervious, because even little mistakes he makes up for with just the decisive multitasking, the ability to go, oh, I didn't see that coming. But it doesn't matter, because I'm going to stim Marines into your third and fourth, kill both hatcheries, kill 4,000 Marines, trade 27... The man gets surprised by a Nidus Roach all-in, still trades almost 3,000 resources better. Like, that's insane. 30% better trading in this game is crazy. Roach is on a high damage unit, though, and he never got rid of much of the production, which is a really big problem here for Serral. Oh, man, Roach is coming down. They will be able to defend. +2/2 tunneling claws on the way. +2 range, or infantry weapons on the way for Clem as well. Fourth base coming up. So Serral's work account's not great. I wonder if... There's part of me that says, like, infestors to trap these Marines and stop him doing these moves would be good. The other part realizes that he just can't do that. Not against a guy who's already on, like, 10 tanks. The problem right now is when Clem pushes, he's going to have so many siege tanks, and you're on tunneling claws. So you kind of need to, like, ambush Clem, sneak into his bases. You can't be fighting Clem where his whole army is sieged up. Now, Clem's moving out just to secure a base by the looks of it at his third. These tanks are out in the middle of nowhere. I hate this tank position. I don't know why they're out there. They could easily get sniped. Tunneling Claw Roaches are just outside. Are there turrets, guys? There's no turrets. He's building one now, though. He's building one now because he sees it. He sees it on the other side. The drop sees the Roaches with Tunneling Claws. He's building a turret. Is it in time? Oh, I think it might be. Because you know why Serral didn't walk in the base before the turret's done, guys? Because he knows that Clem saw the tunneling claws. So he knows, even without seeing the turret, he says, you know what's going to happen? You're going to see the dirt kicked up from the Roaches, and you're going to scan and kill them all. That's why Serral didn't take that risk. Very massive amount of respect there from Serral for Clem. And I think he's totally right. I think Clem would have spotted it and scanned the ramp and killed them all. These Marine drops are so irritating. This map is a nightmare for dealing with drops, by the way. It has more dead space than pretty much any other map in existence ever. The Roach is going to have to back away there. This didn't work out. He's trying to go Hydrogen Infestation, but still 2 tanks building at a time. That's 12 siege tanks, 33 Marines, and 3 Marauders. Not many Marines, actually. Clem has a crazy tank count, but a rather low Marine count. Maybe there's a way to transition into Zerglings against this, but without any melee upgrades, it's a pretty hard ask. +3 weapons has already started for Terran. Queen's going down with that scan. Beautiful move there for Clem. Clem's going to push, guys. Clem is going to push. Man has 14 siege tanks. He's decided to just bring 9 of them, 9 or 10 of them for this push. He has very little Marine support, remember. Great biles on the front line for Serral, but he does take a few nasty tank shots. He does not have Vipers. His hives just started in the main base. This game is rather close as the Roaches tunnel into the main. If he can just get on top of that tank, that could be big, but right now that siege tank doing big damage as Serral was not watching. Getting rid of the armory would be nice. Oh, he tries to tunnel on top, but it's a bit too late. Even with a bit of friendly fire, those Roaches are getting slaughtered, mate. And they are going to get absolutely destroyed. Nice cleanup there for Clem, who's now sieged across the rocks. Biles across the front lines. 3 tanks go down. Beautiful first wave biles. Serral will need to replace those Ravages, though. Not something he was really looking forward to doing. Lings on top of the Marines as well. Could bile down 2 or 3 more tanks. Maybe, just maybe. Tunneling Claw Roaches on the other side. Clem's got to be careful. 4th command center gets cancelled. Nice move. He builds a 5th one right next to it. Crazy, man. Serral, you know you want that juicy pick off. Serral will take it. Marine Marauder drop in the top left side of the main. There's nothing there to defend. These guys could have a party. Another command center gets cancelled. Clem on the right side still sieging the 4th base. Serral trying to take the 5th base up the center. Queens are there. Click on the medevac. Click on the medevac, please. Don't let him get out of here, Serral. Yeah, he will click on the medevac, start to transfuse a little bit as well. Roaches will clean up on the right side, though. 4th base goes down. Serral's new 4th base is going to be up the center in the middle. Tunneling Claw Roaches trying to sneak in. Sees the army. He's like, Clem, please don't look. Clem, please don't look. Clem, please don't look. Clem, please don't look. But there's a turret. Turret's going to see these guys, and you can see they are going to take big damage. Tries to take out the Roach. The tank actually does get a tank, which is nice. He's also trying to drag friendly fire from those siege tanks onto those SCVs and at least baiting scans out once the Roaches are cornered. Just not great cost-for-cost trades. And when you're only on 62 workers, you're going to need those good cost-for-cost trades. You're down 5,000 resources in the units lost. You're up. You know, you're in a really bad position right now, guys. You're up Crap Creek, and you do not have a paddle. You are in a big spot of bother. That being said, good chaos in the main base right now. Very good chaos in the main base. Okay, Roach's going to be getting some good damage. He can keep trading this. Serral can keep trading. Clem's got to send a proper force to deal with this. Those two tanks kind of cover the reserve area. But I like the way Serral can heal up in between these fights as well. Problem is always these drops. These drops are just a menace. And if you don't have a few corruptors or something, like, how do you deal with it? The answer is you just have to multitask like a goat. And right now, obviously, Serral is the goat. Still nasty, though. Roach is going to unburrow, get themselves a few marauders. Worth it. Could take out the armory as well. Queen's trying to defend. The army rotations are savage, though. And look at this. He's just going to shove the guts because he's Clem and he's crazy. His name is Clem and he is crazy, guys. Some people out there are called Robert Paulson, but this man will never be going down. And what is this? Parasitic bomb, perfect dodge while defending at home. But wait. The Roaches are on top. Clem too focused on attacking right now. Clem's going to lose his tanks. He's going to lose his tanks. The tanks are going to go down there. But wait, no. They somehow survive. The Marauders holding on, dropping behind the natural. Meanwhile, single Marauder on the left side as well right now. Didn't even get a chance to make our Fight Club reference because Clem is upping the ante, but so is Serral with the nice counterattacks. Double drops coming in from that side as well. 14 siege tanks. He's got a fat. What? He has almost as many tanks as he has Marines. Clem isn't using them, though, because he's like, I can't stim these. He can't find the stim button on his siege tanks, so he's kind of confused. He's like, I guess I'll just leave them at me fourth base. And I don't know. Just stim and click, stim and click. He can't stim and click with his important thing when he's playing with a siege tank. So he's leaving those at home. He's letting his drops do the heavy lifting. And Serral doesn't really have a chance to break him because of that massive reserve of tanks on the backside. Double drop here again. Get out of Serral's side of the map. Just watching this is making me furious, guys. This map is so hard to defend air and drops on. It's a great Mutalisk map. It's a great drop map. A good map to be harassing with oracles or your own drops, lurker drops, Niduses. But, you know, when you're stuck on the defense with what do you have for anti-air? A few queens, a few hydras, a couple vipers with parasitic bomb. It's very frustrating. If I was Serral, I'd definitely be sending these vipers out to parasitic bomb the drops. But the reason Serral isn't is he knows an army could arrive on the front. If he's not got any energy on the vipers, he just loses control of the center of the map. So Serral's trying to do this the responsible way, but it is giving Clem a lot of control. Tries to borrow the queen, doesn't get it underground in time. Clem snags the queen, gets out of the main. And remember, Clem, he's building a new 4th command center. He's lifted his main down to this 4th base, rebuilding his armory. And he does have +3 weapons against +3 carapace. Medevac finally goes down there with a nice abduct, but of course another drop comes in the other side. He's such a menace. 60 workers against Serral's 50. And it feels like Serral's just getting slowly worn down. You know, this is sandpaper Clem at his finest. This is angle grinder Clem, guys. He's basically just slowly holding Serral's face to the angle grinder, slowly sawing him down, smoothing all the surfaces. I'm telling you what, you know, Serral's quite a handsome young Finnish man. But if this game goes like this much longer, he's going to have mannequin face. You know when it's all just like flat feature, like his nose has just been friggin' shaved to nothing. That's what I'm talking. I'm saying it's brutal what Clem is doing to him right now, and he's just getting worn down little by little. Slowly, it's like watching a dude sandpaper a man to death. Just little bits of damage stacking up over time, and Clem is just not losing his drops. Counterattack comes in, but this is where those tanks that got left behind hold the choke point. Nidus just went up in the main as well, or went down, I should say. Got blasted by the siege tank that was pre-siege there. Serral's lost his new base in the middle. Serral's income is dregs. He's at 1,800 minerals a minute. Clem is at almost 2,000, and it's going to be way higher as he secures the planetary in the bottom right side as well. Clem did not find the room to go +3 armor this game. Serral's finally adding +3 range himself. It's been a low economy game for a while here, but dude, how many lurkers was that? 4 lurkers going down to the snipes. Clem, of course, he gets buoyed by that. He gets excited. He says, let's go! Charges forward, and tanks are a little clump. Blinding Cloud is massive, but is there enough units for the Zerg to actually capitalize? Not really. Not really. There's just too much Terran, man. When the Terran is running into your lurkers with his tanks unsieged, his Ghost Marines injecting drugs and charging at you, you know it's over. Serral knows it's over. He has to tap out. That is a dominant 3-0. And this was all small momentum advantages from start to finish. How many times in this series did we see that Reaper kind of win the game? Remember what happened in the early game, guys. Don't forget that Reaper, the same one from Golden Aura in my own head lore. Look at this Reaper. This Reaper, I mean, it's always good on this map because it gets here so fast. But look what he ruins him. You're like, okay, that's already a bad start for Serral. Then he loses the drone. And you think it's over. But he's going to go back, inject some drugs, and then block the third. And you're like, okay, well, I've lost a drone and a ton of buildings and my third's delayed. That sucks. Well, not only that, then he loses another drone. That's a 2-drone kill, massive amount of damage. And this is already, like, when you're playing against a normal high-level ZvT, being in this start is so hard to play from. But against Clem, it's nearly impossible. And remember, if we fast forward a minute later, what's that Reaper doing a minute later? Dancing around the back of the base for about, what, a minute? 2 minutes straight. Forcing Spore Callers. He was forcing drones off the line. Forcing the queens around. Like, this Reaper, remember, you keep thinking it's going to die. It went for so long. He pulled drones off the natural, pulls drones off the main, finally goes down. But that, at this point, it's already done its work. Serral's screwed. And this is massive. Clem was getting small advantages earlier and running with them. Serral absolutely needed tighter, more perfect early games. And it's hard to practice for that when you're playing against the fastest, most aggressive Terran in the world. GG, well played. Clem gets a dominant 3-0 and goes straight through to the top 4.